Ahoy, ahoy, and welcome to a brand new edition of Ramble on Reactions. This is Clever Eric Mahler.
And that is Handsome Dan Nye.
And then today we're actually going to be talking about something that is coming out as we're recording today. It's coming out this Thursday, which Eric got to see a couple of days ago, which is the much anticipated, I will say, highly anticipated Warcraft. So I can get to see, you went with a screening with good friend of the show, Nate Zobel.
Yes, I did. Yeah, we went to advanced screening.
Give us a little bit of plot and how this movie is going.
Well, pretty much plot-wise, it's a pretty simple plot. It's pretty much the orcs' home planet is dying. They take a portal and up into the world of man, and then in order for the orcs to survive, they need to take over the world of the humans, and the humans aren't just going to give up their land.
Okay.
And then, war happens, and then they craft some things.
War happens, that's just terribly clever. What do you think about, how is it acted? How is it directed?
I'm actually going to go over the negative first,
sure.
and then go into the positives. The negatives with this movie is going to be, it's going to determine how much you actually know about the story ahead of time, how much you actually know about the lore and mythology of Warcraft, because I don't want to say, Lord of the Rings is the ideal example of how to do that, but you know how with the first Lord of the Rings movie, there's that 5-minute monologue that pretty much explains everything beforehand?
Yeah.
There's nothing like that in Warcraft. They pretty much expect you to know what's going on while it's going on. Because, at first, they start labeling off cities and places, and then they just stop doing that. So if you're not paying attention, you're going to be confused to where everything is. And then, so the character arcs and development aren't that great. On the human side, the orc side is fantastic, and I'll go more to that a little bit later. Where this movie fails is with its script, because I gave you the basic plot, but after that, there's more to it, but they don't do a good job explaining what's going on, and there's also a forced romance story that doesn't work.
But see, I also don't think you're not incorrect for saying, at least in recent history, going back to the first Lord of the Rings trilogy, that's a good fantasy yardstick, because we don't get a lot of blockbuster fantasy movies anymore. And
no, we don't, which is sad, because I like fantasy movies.
And as we all saw with the Hobbit movies, it was we don't need to see Lord of the Rings again, just kind of stretched out. So it's interesting, and I'm curious to hear what your thoughts are as far as this as both a fantasy movie and a video game movie, and how you think it was executed.
Well, that's where I'm going to go into the positives of this movie, is the way it's executed. Duncan Jones, who I think now we can stop referring to as the son of the late David Bowie, because he earns his star in this movie. He does an amazing job directing this movie. The cinematography is beautiful for this movie. There's some images you're like, wow, this looks so amazing. The battle sequences are fantastic. The orcs are brutal. When they hit, you feel it. You see blood splattering, bones breaking, and this is rated PG-13 too, so take the kids. And then also, they do little details. You can tell when the humans are fighting, there's more tactic based, while the orcs are fighting, it's more, we got brute force and we're going to knock you down. And the other thing I also really appreciated was, they actually use magic in here, which I know sounds weird to be well, there's other movies that use magic. No, they're straight up magic. It looks like magic. It feels like magic. Nice. And I saw this in 3D, and I recommend seeing it in 3D if you can. Because another thing Duncan Jones does a really good job is that he focuses his action. You could easily scatter throughout. When you're in action sequences, you are focused on the screen. It's kind of like how you described Kingsman, how Matthew Vaughn focused in each action sequence, so that way you're not lost. You know exactly where you're going. Now, comparing this to other fantasy movies, unfortunately, you have to compare it to Lord of the Rings, and Lord of the Rings does it better. But in terms of video game movies, I feel like this isn't the giant step forward that a lot of people are hoping for, but it's a step in the right direction. It's a good movie. It's not a great movie.
That's what I've been hearing, and we're still getting Assassin's Creed later on this year, so there's definitely more hope for a straight-up video game movie. But the fact that it's not everyone was worried this was going to be a bomb. This is not a bomb. What would you rate this movie?
I give it a C+. I can maybe convince myself it's a B-, because all your personal grades are going to determine how much you know about Warcraft going into it.
Okay. So
I give it a C+. I can stand by that.
And that's the thing. I would probably give it less had I seen this, because I don't know Warcraft very well.
Right, and that's what happened with me, because he didn't know what was going on most of the time. Because like I said, they did a good job of appeasing the fans a lot. There's a lot of good fan service, which I picked up on. But like I said, they also didn't do really a lot to bring in the new new people into this franchise. We'll see how it does domestically. I'd like to Because I really like Duncan Jones' direction in this, and I'd like to see him get another movie in this.
I've heard it's also like already doing well overseas, which
it's doing fantastic. It has like the second highest opening weekend in China history.
Well, then, yeah, it's probably going to... If it already has that in China, which I believe is the second biggest market behind the U.S., I think it'll probably be fine.
Everyone loves American movies. America.
So on that note, anything else? Anything else you want to throw about that? Did you mention something earlier? Would you want to mention something about Toby Kebbell?
Oh yeah, the best part of this movie is Toby Kebbell's performance. If you don't know him, unfortunately he was the Doctor Doom in the new Fantastic Four movie, but he's also Koba in the Dawn of the Planet of the Apes movie. He's going to be eventually the new Andy Serkis in terms of mocap. Like his character, I forget his character's name off the top of my head. He is the best. He's the best actor and the best character in the movie. He has the best arc, best moments, and also another thing this movie does well is it actually has good humor in it, which I was shocked by. It's actually like unlike X-Men Apocalypse, where it had 3 jokes and they all bombed. This movie has jokes that work.
And like you were saying, we'll know him for mocap. I lost my train of thought. I had something else to add on to that, and I totally lost it.
That's all right.
Oh wow, that was. I think we're about wrapping it up anyway.
Yep.
So yeah, as always, that's Eric.
That's Dan.
And check out Warcraft if you're into fantasies and you want to see this video game turn. So
yes, this could be the start.
It is recommended. So
yeah,
ramble on.
Ramble on.